Is it possible for Brandon to actually sue the county because they're allowing this judge to do this craziness?
Yes and no. Yes, it can be done, but it's not effective. The state itself. And you're going to say, no, the state has 11th Amendment immunity. Yes and no. Because you can't sue the state in a federal court, but you can sue the judge. And you can sue the judge for money in both state and federal court.
Well, here's the thing.
You guys familiar with
here's that veil. He's right. Yeah.
Hang on. So when this lawsuit happens, and I hope it does, you have to go after all of the pockets you possibly can. So I mean, I would go after the county, state, and the judge.
Yeah.
The difficulty is that the county being a lesser component in regard to the state, the county is not the one that's getting all the money out of Title 4D. It is the state.
I know. I want to nuke everyone. Everyone
gets
gets nuked.
Part of the salary.
Yeah, I want to see everyone get fucking nuked.
Bob, Don, and Brandon. I've pulled Jimmy onto the stage. Great. Jimmy's our evil button pushing monkey. I'm sort of the stand-in producer. Jimmy's our actual producer. So Jimmy, okay. Bob, Don, and Brandon. Bob, Don, and Brandon. Jimmy.
Nice to meet you, gentlemen.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Carry on.
I was going to ask Steve a quick question.
Yeah.
This involves the effect of an actual due process claim. So when a person says, hey, wait a minute, you violated due process, and you challenge an issue that the judge has done. Let's say the judge does violate due process, disability discrimination against a veteran with disability or something like it. Does the violation of due process remove the personal jurisdiction or the party or the case jurisdiction, and so the judge has to be stepped out, recused, or otherwise, and replaced with another judge who won't break the law? Or
bear in mind that this is not my actual process area, what you're talking about right here, but in the particular case where a judge does this, it's like when a detective does something like this, does criminal violations. It calls into question every single case that he has touched prior, and they can all be argued again. Now, in the case of the judge, I don't know if they'll pull him off the bench. Judges are sticky. They're hard to pull out.
Yep.
But in theory, it should remove him from the bench, and they should have to appoint another judge or elect another judge, however it's done in that particular county or state. But yeah, there is absolutely precedent for something like that, actually overturning every case a judge has ever touched.
Yeah.
In the cases that we have filed so far, we've had some interesting results. Mm-hmm. A couple of folks got fired in Montana, including one judge and a couple of support enforcement workers.
There you go.
Down in Louisiana, somebody has lost it. One of the more amusing ones was the case in Arizona where the judge found the family court attorney for our veteran and said, hey, did you work for that guy back in the day? Man, did you know he sued me? I can't believe this judge spent half an hour whining to the lawyer about having to hire a lawyer to defend himself in the lawsuit for misconduct because he couldn't believe he was sued.
They're extremely arrogant.
Hey, hang on. Brandon, if you file this lawsuit, I'm going to have you on the show and we're going to do updates because this is going to be I would love to see this.
Oh, we're going to do a couple more shows. Bob and Don, I hope you're available.
It's happening. I'm actually jumping on board with Bob, and I know he's got some things going. But I wanted to say one more thing. And Bob, you're probably subject matter expert here. So every state has a state court administrative office, correct? Okay.
Mostly.
Does it come down to, this is where we're at. Where's the enforcement? with these administrative. Okay, I see. Okay, where is the enforcement as far as the front of the court should be enforcing? Okay, we have to go through this test. These are subject to disposable retirement pay, blah blah blah. We can get in all that remuneration for employment. Now we have to get to the point where we're going to sue these individuals directly. Where is the enforcement, and why hasn't this happened? That's the question. And they're all. This is nationwide.
Yeah. And
So
this is affecting
the office that you're referring to as the friend of the court is actually a sort of
It's an arm.
public arm.
Yes.
I'm going to call it a family court services. It's a subsidiary branch of the friendly side of, you're going through divorce court, so we're going to give you a person who can give you a little guidance and a little friendliness and a little thing like this. And they actually testify to the court, well, we did the home visit, we did this, and we think that, and they get a psychologist in there. And all of this is about how they can manipulate the system to make it come down to nothing changes.
Sure.
Yeah.
They have no power. They have no authority. They cannot do anything to really help anybody. They cannot enforce due process of law. Theoretically, the courts are supposed to police themselves and maintain continuity of the court. But when it comes down to it, there's not one state judge in this country who's willing to admit 35 years of predatory corruption and profiteering.
Right.
There's not one lawyer that's going to help us. Well, there's a couple, but not too many. Most lawyers will not help us because if they understand it and they're going to say, holy crap, you're right. But if they try to help us, every other lawyer in town will put them out of business by blackballing them. Every judge will shut them down. And every
That's exactly correct.
They run out of money instantly.
Yeah.
Anybody else, any other lawyer you talk to, 90% of them just say, oh, I don't know, what's a triangle? And they just go through the same thing. They look it up, they do a quickie search and says Rose versus Rose, and they automatically
It's a default.
tell us to shut up and go away.
Bob, they have a vested interest in nothing changing.
That's right.
Correct. That's where they make their money.
And
This is why we have to do it.
Listen, you
This
guys,
is why we have class action lawsuits
hang on.
in play.
One at a time, gentlemen.
You keep bringing up Title 4D money.
Yeah.
That comes from the Social Security Fund.
Nope.
No.
That's what I was told. Am I
Nope.
wrong?
Nope.
Okay, where's that money come from then?
Us.
We fund it. 100%.
It's taxpayer
Let's start
funded.
with
40 is taxpayer
child
funded.
welfare
entirely. He's
system.
right, Bob.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry. All right. I got some wrong information. I stand corrected. I'm going to do the I was wrong dance. You were right. Now. Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
The child welfare system is funded by the United States government. Congress puts up buckets of money and says, okay, take care of this. And that money is handed over to the states. And they say, handle the child welfare system, food stamps, medical coverage, housing, whatever. Put the money out there. And then they say, well, that costs us a lot of money. So we need some money coming back in. And they created this commission structure. So the commission structure is based on how much money they collect on these orders. So they make up a bunch of fake orders on us that are illegal to begin with. But they make them. And then they go out and they get the veterans. So in the case of Joseph Holmes, Joseph was in the Navy 1972. But in 2017, he won $43,000 in back pay on his VA claim, where the VA said he's been totally disabled since at least 2010. And actually, he was severely disabled earlier than that, but he was on supplemental security income for years. They couldn't collect anything on that. The state couldn't get any money out of that. But the minute they got $43,000 in his bank came from the VA, the very next day, the employees of the state of Alabama took it out of his account, put it into the state account, and called it child support. Now,
Wow.
I told you how old he was. He's in his 90s, if he's still alive. The thing is, They were calling it this child support because it's the back order of child support. That's where Title 4D is. It's about getting that back order blown up based on fake information. Oh, you don't look disabled, so we're going to use imputed income or assigned income or fake income, or we're just going to take like one of the veterans up here. He's a retiree, but he had 60% disability from the VA. And this is right at the time before the concurrent retired disability pay kicked in. So his retired pay was reduced, his VA benefits came in, and the state court just said, look, we're going to take the retired pay at this much, we're going to add the we're going to add the VA benefits. And then since the veteran was going to school to try and learn how to do something different because he couldn't do what was in the military anymore.
That money too.
Wow.
They took that, but they imputed an additional $2,000 on top of that to make the child support order. Then, after they did that, using the money for the child support order, they gave the ex-wife half of the retired pay. Then they gave her alimony on top of that out of the VA benefits to pay for this. The veteran was left with like $600 a month to live on, like I was.
Been there.
And this was devastating. The Washington Court of Appeals wasted 3 pages bad-mouthing the veteran for claiming to have medical conditions, probably faking everything, and just this incredibly stupid abuse.
Bob, was this the Pierce County courts?
Yes.
And
By the
that
way,
is exactly where I was, and that's exactly what happened to me.
Okay. Pierce County is number 9 of the top 10 counties in the United States for the total number of veterans on disability. It is not the worst of the top 5 counties where all of this is happening. Riverside County, where Don lives, is probably the number 1 worst in the state or in the country for suicide and death by poverty. This is why Operation Firing for Effect, Veteran Hope, and several other organizations, I can't remember the names or I can't pronounce correctly.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulas.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.